guys, Cait here, and welcome to my first season's impressions, and I think I came at the right time too. At the beginning of the summer season, a lot of friends I knew, even my sister, said that this season was pretty lackluster looking because of the shows. They seemed lame in concept, and the only things they were looking forward to, really, were the second seasons of My Hero Academia, Owari Monogatari, New Game, and if there's one series that they were looking forward to, it was Kaguya Guru. And that's about it. However, I jumped into this season with a grain of salt, and I found that those series that people thought were going to be too lame to exist are actually treasures that should be seen. And that's basically my job when it comes to this video. I have 3 sections when it comes to organizing this because I saw a lot of material in the past few months. Dropped, please avoid if you can, and finished. All of them seem self-explanatory, so let's get into Dropped. Sagrada Reset. The story takes place in a society where everyone has a certain power, but only the people who live in this town in particular have those powers. KSI has the power to retain memories. He doesn't know how he can do this until he meets a quiet girl who can reset time named Misora Haruki. She only resets time if that means she can help people change events from bad to good. So Kay wants to help her with that wish. I watched up to episode 3 and I'm glad I did so I can understand what this anime is about. It's a mystery anime, so of course the plots are going to be surrounding that. However, for someone who's so focused on going back in time to fix things from happening, I don't find Kay likable in the slightest. I thought that the 2-year time skip would change something, but it kinda didn't. I mean, he's kinda less stone-faced than he was in episodes 1 and 2, but he's still pretty narcissistic when it comes to solving problems in Sakurada. The girl, Haruki, gained a little more personality than he did. The opening to this show is excellent to listen to, but if you guys really want to watch this, or you did like it, I give you props because I could not get through it at all. Dive. The story revolves around the members of the Mizuki Diving Club, which is about to close down due to lack of funding. However, a famous female swim coach who used to compete in America decides to help, only on one condition. If one of her boys goes to the Japan Olympics, the club stays open. I watched up to episode 2 of the show because I realized right then that I was watching a less interesting version of Free. I couldn't really find anything good about the main characters. The one who's supposed to be the Haru of the group, I guess, is more of a mean spirit than Haru will ever be. Plus, I don't really get how this kid wanted to get into diving. Oh yeah, it's because he has a girlfriend, but he wants the D from this guy instead. Even though he said he sounded serious about the Tokyo Olympics, I still don't believe it. I really like listening to the ending, but this show just makes me think it's a Free ripoff, despite the fact that the Dive manga series came out before Free ever did. Actually, look at the manga art for this. It's creepy. Chronos Ruler. 2 Time Lords protect people's time from fading away from them. That's pretty much all I got from this series. The first episode caught me into watching the show. It had really cool action scenes with some dark comedy. However, when I got to the second episode, the dark comedy changed to light comedy for some strange reason, and the tone of the show I thought was going to be good actually flipped on its head in a bad way. Because of this, the characters I was introduced to went flat in the second episode, and I just had to drop it like that. Restaurant to Another World. Cute demon girl gets hired at a human restaurant by day, mythical creature haven by night. It's a slice of life. Nothing special, really. I'm pretty picky when it comes to slice of life anime. Either the characters are going to be fun or not. With this show, just by watching 2 episodes, I came to understand that this is going to be otherworldly characters meeting the new demon girl hire, and they'll be orgasming over the delicious food that they ate. The first episode already had penis envy over what rice goes better with. What the heck? Sakura Quest. Yoshino Koharu is a fresh adult who's trying to find a job, but so far no luck. But one day, she gets an offer to play a promotional princess role in a tourist town. She thinks it's a one-day thing, but it actually turns out that this is a yearly contract until the tourist town booms the way it did during its heyday. Poor Yoshino, what is she going to do now? I really wanted to be interested in this show. I really did. But after watching 5 out of the 25, I just felt like I was watching the same episode over and over again. And I just got tired of being stuck in a rut. The English dub is not bad, even though some of the lip sync is off at times, so if you guys like it, that's great. I just got bored of it really quickly. Tatsugeki Token Rambu. Weapons turn human to destroy demons and protect history from being fucked up. That's all I got out of this one, too. And gee, the plot almost sounds familiar. At first I thought the concept of time savers was going to be interesting. However, as I kept watching, there's more drama in between the crew than actual fighting, which I found to be extremely dull, especially since this is an action anime. Then again, what else could I have expected from an anime that was inspired by a card game? I just wish there was something more dropped. Then there were shows that I didn't even make it to drop because I didn't finish the first episode. But those shows were like, it's not for me. However, these titles I'm going to list are shows that anger me so much because I thought they could have been something redeeming, but don't. Nitsuzuo Trap. I get that these are supposed to be like 10 minutes long, which is not my problem. My problem is that in the first minute of the first episode, 2 girls are in a bathroom and one of them is being sexually assaulted by her friend. I get that this is a drama and the plot of the show is supposed to be that these 2 girls are going to fall in love at some point. It's said that these 2 kiss as preparation for the other, since they have boyfriends, but the last thing I ever expected was a girl pushing her friend onto the toilet and take her shirt off when she didn't want to. That's not helping. We all know what the real word for it is. If you guys don't mind that stuff, I don't know what to say, but if you guys are triggered by stuff like that, take this as a warning. A big warning.
Bad touch, stranger danger.
Aho girl. Like Keijo, you need to be brain dead in order to get through an entire episode, let alone the entire series. Because I heard this was a comedy, I thought they would do something with it like Sakamoto or something like that. I was so wrong. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but the title of this right here translates to Stupid Girl, is accurate to the intelligence that this show has, which is absolutely none. So I let it go as soon as possible.
You see that? That's a stupid bitch.
Ikemen Sengoku, bromances across time.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Just don't watch this series if you really want to spare your intelligence. The 3D animation is so disgusting. They show the 2D in the opening, but they don't use it anywhere else. Like, oh my god, this is nothing human eyes should be seeing. I should have avoided this when I had the chance, but I didn't because I'm a masochist. At least Ruby Chibi had more pleasing 3D animation and the jokes are actually funny. Until Rooster Teeth started running out of ideas. Classroom of the Elite. Hey kids, are you looking for a more mean-spirited version of Assassination Classroom? Well, here it is. Just from the first few minutes, there is no joy in this show. None at all. Yeah, there's one good character, but the main one is the most annoying just from the first few minutes of watching. The voice actor even sounds bored. I bet the English dub isn't that bad considering how quickly dubbing for the first few episodes came out, but I'm not sure if I'm going to jump into that again, already seeing how horrible these characters, except for the one, seems to act. Unless you like shows like these, this is a skip. Now here's the portion that you all have been waiting for. These are shows I actually watched from beginning to end, and whether they were amazing to watch or they went lackluster towards the end. There's a lot of word vomit here, so please bear with me. The first one I finished was Love and Lies. In a somewhat close future, Japan has a new arranged marriage system that's supposed to help every citizen find a person to marry and to raise the birth rate. This is claimed successful, but falling in love with some other person than your assigned spouse is considered illegal. However, for Yukari Nijima, he's been in love with the same girl for the most of his life. And when he gets a notification on his 16th birthday, he thinks it's a blessing, but it turns sour very quickly. On an email, he says he's supposed to marry his childhood sweetheart, Misaki Takasaki. However, when the government arrives, he's supposed to marry Rurina Sanada. Is something going on? And where does Yukari's path really turn? For something as dystopian as being forced into marriages is, like how much of a trope it is in American dystopian young adult novels, I'm surprised that the society in the series was not as strict as the ones in adult novels. I thought this was going to bother me throughout the 12 episodes, but it didn't that much. Then after watching the first few episodes, I thought this was going to be mostly fan service and anime character cliches. What was cliche was having the school play arc that's in almost every realistic fiction romance shoujo manga ever, but that actually moved along the plot for some strange reason. Towards the end of the series, what really annoyed me the most was the love triangle trope. I mean, I completely understand it because it's a society where marriages are arranged, but sometimes natural love occurs. Because science? Considering how lenient or something the rules seem, it sounds ridiculous. However, when it comes to Yukari's love triangle, it started becoming unnatural. He said that he loved Misaki ever since they were in 5th grade, and she loved him back. But that seems too coincidental. Even Misaki hinted that she's hiding something major from Yukari, and it's maybe that she never even loved him? But then Yukari is arranged to marry Ririna, who I thought was going to be the stereotypical tsundere. But then that's not the case either. Because they sacrificed so much for each other in the time they've known each other that they learned to fall in love with each other in some ways. And then there are some gay undertones in there, which I'm not sure if the original writer meant to do that, or that was meant to confuse the living shit out of the audience. I mean, the manga's still going, so that probably has more answers than the anime does. With that said, there's probably going to be a season 2 for this series at some point, and when or if it does come around, I'll probably watch that to get the answers I need. Hopefully. Overall, I give this anime a score of 7.5 out of 10. The second show I finished was Fastest Finger First. Shiki Koshiyama was a quiet, studious boy in middle school. He was even the school's librarian, so he could read every book possible. When he finally arrives at high school, he's randomly pulled into the world of quizzing by the quiz club's president, who's actually a second-year transfer from a private school most known for its quizzing competitions. Though he had no idea what the world of quizzing competition even is, he does learn the ropes pretty quickly because of how much he knows the answers by reading those books years ago. When you think of sports anime, answering quiz questions is probably the last thing anyone could ever expect. Well, I knew quiz bowls were always a thing, but I guess as I got older, I forgot how important they were to those who were really into pop culture and history. Despite what sport this is being different, how the story is set up is different as well. The main male lead, Shiki, is the type of character who is pulled into the sport he had no idea was a thing instead of being a prodigy who just joined a team out of boredom or being the son of a famous quizmaster, so it makes sense that the president of the club recruited him. This is not Kokoro no Basket, not Yuri on Ice, not Haikyuu, or even as something as groundbreaking, even though the plot is very Karate Kid, as Hajime no Hippo. If anything, Shiki is kind of like Sakamichi from Yowamushi Pedal, or Rei from Free. He didn't intend on joining the team, but he got the makings, so why the hell not? Instead, this time, he's actually the main lead like Sakamichi from Yowamushi Pedal. Sports anime is a hit or miss between people depending on what sport it is or how it's presented as a whole. So, the one thing I will say, that is if you're one of those people who's not into geeks freaking out about quizzes and literature, this anime is not for you. But if you are curious as to how it works, the quizzing world is very easy to understand because they explain the rules in every damn episode. The characters are very relatable and funny to watch. And quizzing games do get pretty intense because of how quick it is, hence the English title of this anime being Fastest Finger First. This show hinted that it's going to have a season 2 as well, and I really can't wait for it. Shiki is just another cute husbando to add to my list of husbandos to root for. I'd score this show an 8 out of 10. Then there's Kakigarui, Compulsive Gambler. If you want to be the top dog of Hyakuo Private Academy, you gotta be 2 things. 1, very good at gambling and cheating, and 2, very super freaking rich. Because if you have a huge debt to pay, you are a servant to the superior, and unfortunately, that's what happens to innocent Ryota Suzui, a freshman at the academy. One day, a mysterious freshman girl, Yumeko Jabami, transfers into his class, completely clueless about how ruthless the school's gambling actually is. But when people challenge her to gambling games, she naively accepts their proposals. Suzui tries to save her from debt, but it turns out that this new student doesn't need the help because she even cheats her way to win against her opponent's cheating strategies. Who is this girl and what is she really after? I always go for the rule of don't judge a book by its cover, but dear God, this anime is just as intense as it shows on its promotional posters. Though the plot makes the events of the anime seem a little more predictable, there are times when it's not as predictable as it seems, which makes this anime as intriguing as it sounds. There's a girl who seems to know every cheat trick in the book, but sometimes she can't avoid it. Plus, this anime is more than about gambling, though gambling is the driving force. Yumeko as a character is very mysterious and strong, probably one of the strongest female leads in anime history. She doesn't let anybody push her around, even though her disguised innocent image makes it seem that she likes being pushed around, which actually scares her intimidating classmates more than entertains them. Actually, there are a lot of proud modeling female characters in the show, despite most of them being villains. There is a little bit of fan service, but unlike in most ecchi anime nowadays, it's actually used to show how powerful these girls in this anime really are, rather than show them how ditzy and naive they could be, and that's what pulls me into the show more than drives me away from it. However, I will warn you that there are some strange and adult elements to the show, so if you guys get cringe about that, I'd wait on this one until you guys can handle it. Trust me, there are moments where I was even like, what the fuck? But the veteran anime fans, this is a very must-watch if you haven't done so already. By the way, this show showed me why I should never chew on my fingernails ever again, and I'm still traumatized. This show also left on a cliffhanger of sorts, as a way to say, wait for season 2 to know what's going to happen next, and I am so looking forward to it. Perfect score of 10 out of 10. Cleona No Aki. This anime is a short series about two students who befriend a sick girl who gets picked on all the time, and this show teaches people how bullying can affect more lives than just one innocent victim. This is a short series, with episodes about being 9 to 10 minutes long. But so much happens in those 9 to 10 minutes that even if you look away from the screen for 5 seconds, you can miss an entire scene. So much emotion has been put into the series that you can tell by the opening and ending of how this series might end up. The animation to this show has to be one of the most beautiful animations I've ever seen. Everything's so shiny and clean. I almost didn't watch this series because the poster looked a little meh-ish. But I'm glad I got my hands on it while I still could. The characters are dynamic as well. There may be a lot of them, but you don't need to know all of their names to understand the situation of the plot. Just look at these 3 beautiful babies right here and you'll be fine. Why do the good suffer? Anyway, I rated this a perfect score as well. A must-watch for short series lovers. Maiden Abyss. When I first started watching this show, I thought it was going to be an innocent treasure hunting story. Boy, was I mistaken. This was a cycle of feelings stabbing you, ripping out of you, and stabbing you again. The animation almost threw me off, but for something so simple, it's actually done masterfully. The story tells of a 12-year-old girl named Riko who wants to be a white whistle relic hunter like her famous mother. However, when it's rumored that her mother might be dead after a white whistle troop finds her own whistle deep in the abyss, Riko doesn't really know how to react. However, when a robot boy, who she names Reg, protects her from a giant monster, Riko thinks that there is still life down in the lowest circle of the abyss and her mother may be still alive. This show has fantastic, relatable, intelligent characters as well as a super thought-out plot. It just shows you how the anime style used could definitely trick people as to what the series is going to be about. Watching it the first time, it sure fooled me. What I mean is that the first half of the series will appear nice and cute, but trying not to spoil the series here, the other half turns into a complete what the fuck scenario. However, I do promise you that this series is an amazing watch, even if it's for the how cutesy animation could go with such twisted plot elements. This anime makes you question how humanity manages to take in so much when it comes to survival of the fittest. It also makes you question Darwin's theory. What matters more, survival of the fittest or surviving when there's a possibility to be alive? This show does have some questions that are not answered, but that's because it really bangs on the fact that there's going to be a season 2 coming out at some point in the future, so I'm not going to complain. 9 out of 10 score rating. Then there's season 2 of My Hero Academia. The one probably everyone was looking forward to, or just to listen on my opinions about.
Eat this! No, not that part.
Season 1 was a great introduction into the series with the main characters and what the series is going to be about. However, Season 2 was absolutely lit as fuck. Ever since Season 1 of the show, My Hero Academia has appeared in the ranks of the mainstream anime world. I can see why. Unlike other shows that kind of force American influence for the sake of trying to inspire the Western countries to watch Eastern animation, My Hero Academia was inspired by American hero cartoons and original Nintendo video games. The concept of the superhero society is not exactly original, but how the story starts and progresses with one certain plot point actually makes the series a lot more interesting to watch than what people could expect if they have never heard of this series before, which I highly doubt at this point because as soon as season 1 of this show came out, a broadcast English dub followed. Even for season 2, the two versions came out almost at the same time. The school concept of the series is, in general, kind of reminds me of Assassination Classroom, and like Assassination Classroom, the series does its best to give an overview of the other characters besides our main hero, Deku. For a series like this, to have so many characters interact and influence one another, it's impossible to leave them out. So I'm doing my best not to make this a long review of the series in general, but I also can't really spoil what happens in season 2 either. I will say that this season very well emphasizes more on what the definition of a hero in this anime setting really means, and you learn that through the eyes of the students as they go through the tournament and internship arcs. However, remember how Deku couldn't really control his powers in the first season? Let's just say that he goes more batshit crazy in this one. It also answers questions about All Might and about the main villains of the show. I actually talked to my friend, Runner Guitar, about this, and we both agree that we hope the writer doesn't Pokemon, One Piece, Bleach, or Inuyasha this series, because this show has a really nice touch to the collection of modern anime, and having it run for too long, it'll just ruin the experience for everyone. Still, Season 2 has left us on another cliffhanger, and I hope Season 3 comes out reasonably soon, because... So that's it for this season's roundup. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Now I gotta prep myself for the fall season, and oh dear. Welcome to season 2 of shows I never wanted to watch, so I gotta find something else to entertain myself for 3 months land.
No!
Absolutely not happening!